Weekends at the Solano household was busy, with the unseasonably hot May weather making lounging in bed uncomfortable. They were up and rearing to go early. Emma had breakfast on the table by 9 a.m., and by 11, they were in Earl's car on their way to his parents. The elder Solanos loved having them over, especially since it was one of the rare times they saw their son. They had taken to Samantha, too, who loved the attention she got. This weekend, however, some of the younger cousins were coming to barbecue. It was one of Earl's cousins' birthday. Emma had been pressed into helping with the other women in the kitchen, while Earl was dragged off to clear the yard and set up tables with his brothers and other male members of the family. By 3 in the afternoon, the party was in full swing. Earl's young cousin was turning 16, and he was a good-looking young man who had more girls at the party than boys, all of whom giggled and vied for his attention. "You see that boy?" Earl's aunt asked. Earl's father laughed heartily. "It's that Solano charm man. The girls can't resist it." Earl's father was still a handsome man, even though he was in his late 60s. His mother was also a beautiful woman. They must have been quite a pair in their day, Emma mused. Earl's siblings were all good-looking, with their dark, flashing eyes and even skin tone. They all inherited their parents' soft, curly hair. Doreen was a softer version of Earl, and Emma thinks that's made them close. Earl's eldest brother, Rohan, had been married 4 years and had a 2-year-old son. His wife, Laura, was a pretty and quiet woman who would rather be in the shadows than in the limelight. She was a nurse. Beau and his wife of 3 years, Jill, were also at the party. They didn't have children yet. Jill was an exotic-looking woman of biracial heritage who was also a nurse at Rohan's clinic. Emma realized that Earl's family was full of professional people. Everywhere she looked, Emma saw the Solano face and wondered if and when she and Earl had a baby, if it too would resemble the Solano clan. She didn't dwell too much on it because it was too soon to be thinking of babies, no matter how many hints Earl threw at her. She caught sight of Sam playing with the other children and sighed contentedly. Mrs. Solano plopped down beside Emma at one of the many tables the men had set up and nodded toward the children playing in the sprinkler. "You don't have to worry about that one. She'll be okay. You seem a little thoughtful, sitting over by yourself. Is everything okay?" Mrs. Solano's musical voice said. "Oh, hi. Yes, everything is good. I was just people watching. Everybody except for the women marrying into the family have the same features. It got me daydreaming about what our child would look like." "So, is this a way of telling me that you and Earl are expecting?" "Oh, no, not at all, although Earl keeps hinting at it. I want to wait just a little longer. We haven't been married a year yet, and A ball landed in her lap. She turned to see where the ball came from, spied Earl hurrying toward her. "Hey, sweet love. The ball didn't hit you, did it?" "No, I'm okay." She handed him the ball. She watched him walk away and sighed. He had been playing soccer and had taken off his shirt. He really was the most beautiful man she had ever seen, with his broad shoulders, muscular chest, and narrow waist, not to mention his jeans riding low on a pair of cheeks so tight she could barely contain herself. And all of it, glistening from perspiration, was all she could bear. Emma cleared her throat and smiled sweetly, got up and excused herself in search of some punch. Doreen was there, and she laughed. "You might want to put on a shirt there, brother. Did you see your wife's face?" "What's wrong with her face?" Earl wanted to know. When women gathered together, it made him nervous. Their conversations never boded good for men. Both Doreen and his mother smiled at him. "It's the Solano magic. Those teenage girls over there have been drooling over you for the past hour, and I know your wife is going to make you a very happy man tonight," his sister said. Earl looked down his nose at them and clutched the ball under his arm and went back to the game. "I guess he really doesn't know how gorgeous he is. He looks like that picture of Dad you showed us before you got married," Doreen said to her mother. "Yeah, you're right. He doesn't flaunt his looks," admitted his mother. "Between you and Dad, you produce some pretty children." "Amen, but Earl is the most beautiful," she said with pride. Emma wandered around inside the house. She went into the kitchen to get some ice for her punch. She was hot, and she felt foolish. When she returned outside, she found Jared. "Hello, Jared. It is good to see you again," Emma said. "Hi, Emma. Are you here alone, or did Earl come too?" he asked. Emma pointed to the far side of the yard. "He's over there playing ball with the other men." "Oh, maybe I should join them," he said and got up to go. Emma leaned against the table. I see you didn't get rid of him. How goes things? We are still taking things slow. He's patient, I give him that. It'll work. Emma turned to face her then. Did you have any doubts? Not really. I'd had some trouble in the past with men who thought I wasn't soft enough, but Jared is attracted by it. I had asked them if his mother was a strong woman, and he said no, that she was a marshmallow. I think I'm in love with him, and he said that he was in love from the first time he seen me. I just want to make sure. Do you mind a personal question? Doreen raised an eyebrow at her. What's he like in bed? Although my parents would lecture me within an inch of my life if they knew, he's wonderful. Well, that's good. He's committed. Earl was in a rush too. I think for some men, they know right away. Having been married before this made me cautious. I'm sorry if I embarrassed you earlier. I understand what you're feeling, and it was too good to pass up. My brothers have been affecting women like that since they were able to walk. Rohan and Bo have used their appeal all throughout high school. Earl was reserved. Rum and tequila flowed freely after dark. The young children had gone inside to watch movies, and the adults had taken over the party. Earl had gone inside to shower and change. He came back just as the music had changed to reggae. Taking the tall glass of rum punch from her hand, Earl pulled Emma up to dance with him. She felt self-conscious until Earl pulled her closer and whispered to her, Relax, baby. Just let the music guide you. Close your eyes and take a deep breath. Now look at me, he coached. He was all West Indian now. His speech had taken on the Jamaican cadence. As they danced, she smiled, her inhibitions melting away. She was feeling good. Most probably, the several glasses of rum punch she'd consumed was the reason she was feeling so good. When she stumbled for the second time, Earl realized that Emma was intoxicated, and he suggested that it was time to go home. With promises to barbecue at their house, Earl and Emma collected Sam and they left. Earl was amused. He hadn't seen how much Emma drank, but this was a side of her he'd never seen. She was quite amorous and pounced on him as soon as he'd come out from giving Sam a goodnight kiss. Grab something thick from the linen closet and meet me downstairs in the office, he told her. Emma obeyed, and soon they were clinging to each other on the floor in the office. Earl learned something new about his wife. Alcohol-induced aphrodisia, he smiled to himself. Sated, Emma fell into a deep sleep, but Earl wasn't comfortable. He pulled on his pants and carried her up to bed. Not once was he aware of the pair of eyes watching them. The room was dark and Emma couldn't see. She couldn't feel her hands as the rope seemed to tighten even more around her wrists. Then she went still, fear building up inside her. She listened for his footfalls echoing beyond the door until it was directly behind it. When he opened it, there wasn't enough light for her to see him. He was just a menacing silhouette that reached down to grab at her. She tried to scream through the gag over her mouth, but all that came out was a moan. When those calloused hands touched her, she fought with all her might. He hauled her up to her feet, pushing her against the wall with one hand, while the other reached for the buttons on her shirt. She screamed through the gag and tried to squirm away. No! She screamed louder. She fought harder to no avail. He was much stronger, monstrously so. He slapped her hard and threw her back down onto the floor. No, please stop, she cried. Earl almost fell out of bed at Emma's blood-curdling scream. She was dreaming again, and this time it looked worse than ever. She fought him as he tried to wake her up. Bloody hell, Emma, he shouted when her fist connected with his face. Emma opened her eyes and burst into tears. She sobbed into her pillow. It broke Earl's heart to see her this way, and every time he tried to touch her, she either moved away from him or swatted his hand away. She finally calmed down when Samantha knocked on the bedroom door. Mommy, are you all right? The young girl called out through the door. Emma got out of bed and opened the door. She told Sam that she was fine and that she had just had a bad dream. She took her daughter back to her own room, and Earl had followed them. Emma came out of Sam's room and almost bumped into Earl. She warded him off with her hands and flew downstairs to the living room, flickering on lights as she went along. When every light was on, she sat on the single chair with her feet curled up under her. In the next instant, she was up pacing. She couldn't keep still. That's right, walk it off. It will fade soon, she thought. I think I will go out of my mind if these dreams don't go away. There's no rational reason for them. The case is over, and everyone involved is either dead or in jail. Why am I doing this to myself? She stopped pacing to speak as fresh tears slid down her face. Earl, it was so real and so much worse. I tried so hard to fight, but he was too strong, and he kept hitting me. And those hands, God, those awful hands. Her husband came to her with a robe then, and she accepted his arms around her. She clung to him now, needing his comfort. Earl, I couldn't stop him. He hurt me so badly. Hush now, love. We are going to sort this out soon. I am never going to sleep again. I can't get it out of my head. I can't even calm down. Emma pulled out of his arms. What time is it? It is 3 o'clock in the morning. Why do you ask? It is late, but he'll come, Emma said almost to herself as she walked toward the kitchen to get the cordless phone. She dialed Matt's number and waited for him to answer. Matt, it's Emma. I'm sorry to call you so late, but I need you to come and get Sam. She's fine, but I'm not. She handed the phone to Earl. He spoke to Matt, assuring him that Sam was fine, and then hung up. Why did we call Matt? Because I can only hold it together for a little while longer. I don't want to scare Sam, and I don't want her to see me this way. More tears slid down her face. I feel like I'm going to jump out of my skin, she sobbed into her hands. 15 minutes later, the bell chimed, and Earl went to let Matt in. Earl told him to wait with Emma while he went to get Sam. He brought her down still asleep and walked out of the house. Angela, Matt's new wife, was waiting in the car and took her. Do you mind telling me why I'm here picking up my daughter at this godforsaken hour? Matt asked. I am having a nervous breakdown is what, answered Emma. Don't listen to her. She's been having nightmares for 2 solid months, and tonight was the worst. I can't get her back to bed and she won't stop pacing. We thought we'd keep Sam out of this for now while she gets some help. Do I want to know what the dreams are about? Asked Matt. She's been dreaming about being kidnapped and assaulted. Your poor wife must think we've gone bonkers, but I assure you that I will get Emma sorted straight away. After Matt left, Earl returned to find Emma still pacing. She was starting to get a wild look about her, and he didn't like it one bit. Emma, love, wouldn't you like to lie down for a little while? You look exhausted, darling. Earl approached her like he would a wounded animal. Slowly, he stretched out his hand to her, all the while soothing her with his words. Come on, love, let's go upstairs and lay down. You could use a bit of rest. Emma saw him coming for her and backed away from him. Please, no more, she pleaded. That was the last straw. He lunged at her and caught her tightly to him. There were tears in his own eyes. He didn't know what to do, and he felt so helpless. If he took her to the hospital now, it was a sure bet that she would be locked up in the psychiatric ward. Without letting go, Earl reached for the telephone and called his sister. He gave her a brief rundown of what was happening and asked her if she could get Jared to come over. He wasn't even surprised Jared came on the line seconds later. He told Earl that they would be there as soon as they could. In the meantime, he tried to get Emma to go to bed, but twice she jumped out and ran down the stairs to the living room. There she continued to pace, cry, and pace some more. Not knowing what else to do, Earl stayed with her. When Jared and Doreen arrived, Doreen took Earl to the other end of the living room while Jared worked with Emma. Jared did a quick assessment and determined that Emma was hysterical and was suffering from a form of alcohol poisoning. All the signs were there, the hallucinations, the unusual behavior, not to mention that she reeked of alcohol. How much did she drink? He asked Earl. I'm not sure. Every time I looked her way at the barbecue, she had one of those rum punches in her hand. I assumed she should be able to handle what she consumed, but I don't know. I just thought she was a little bit intoxicated. Perhaps she could tell us, Doreen suggested. They all turned to Emma, who was lying on the couch. Earl knelt down beside her. Emma, do you remember what you had to drink at the barbecue? Which of the drinks did you have? Asked Jared. Emma smiled. I had a few rum punches, and then I had 2 of Bo's Tequila Surprise. Why? Jared clapped his hands. This is good news. I think I was writing my first observation. Emma is suffering from alcohol poisoning, which is easily treatable. He told him a trip to the pharmacy to get the necessary items would fix Emma right up. A few hours later, Emma was resting comfortably and they all relaxed. His sister Doreen opted to stay longer while Jared left due to an engagement he couldn't get out of, but promised to call back to check on Emma. Earl slept for 3 hours straight. He awoke feeling refreshed and quickly checked on Emma, who was still sleeping in Samantha's bed. She looked so peaceful and relaxed. The horror of the wee hours of the morning seemed to have left no lasting mark on her. He went downstairs to fix himself something to eat. His sister was sitting at the kitchen table, and she smiled at him. "You look rested. How's our patient?" she asked him. "She is still sleeping." Earl sat across from his sister and passed the hand across his face. "I don't ever want to go through that again." Emma didn't know how sensitive she was to alcohol, otherwise she wouldn't have indulged. "Well, we all know now. I made some soup. I don't think Emma can stomach anything heavier. And Matt called. I told him you would call him later. Jared called too. I told him that everything is quiet." "How can I thank you?" asked Earl. There was a weary smile on his face as he reached across the table to tap his sister's hand. Doreen shook her head. "You're my brother and I love you. I'm sure you would have done the same for me," she said, and she hesitated before continuing. "Emma needs some serious help, Earl. She can't keep putting it off like this. Before Jared treated her, she was telling me about the very nasty things she's been dreaming about. This last one was very bad. She was in and out of the dream, seeing me as her captor. It is breaking my heart to see her hurt so. I can't bear much longer, and you're right. We're going to pursue Jared's counseling as soon as she recovers from this alcohol poisoning." "Well, now that we all know how sensitive she is, we won't allow this to happen again," said Doreen. "What won't happen again?" Emma asked, startling them both. She was standing at the threshold of the kitchen looking drained. She had taken a shower thinking it might revive her, but she felt weighted down. Her eyes were huge in her still pale face. She entered and sat in the chair beside him. It was then he noticed the death grip she had on the seat beside a slender thigh. "Are you well enough to be up?" he asked. She'd lie, he knew, just to be brave. Pushing limp hair behind one ear, she lifted her shoulder. "It seemed pointless to lay there when I was wide awake." "Well, in that case, I've made some soup. Would you like some?" Doreen said. "How can I thank you and Jared for all you've done for me?" Emma asked, ignoring the question. Besides, she didn't think she could keep anything down. Her stomach felt extremely queasy. Doreen shook her head. "Why do you need to thank us? Emma, you're my sister-in-law. You're family now." At the look on Emma's face, she held up her hand. "Okay, if you need to thank me, have some soup. To be honest with you, I don't think I could keep it down." Doreen got up and went to the stove and filled the small bowl and placed it in front of her. "Why don't you try just a little? Jared said that it was important that you eat something as soon as you were up." "Maybe just a little," Emma agreed. She wanted to be cooperative, even though she wanted to curl up somewhere and die. She had gotten sick 3 times before Jared's treatment allowed her to rest. She let Doreen place the bowl in front of her and tried not to gag. She lifted pleading eyes to her husband, but he nodded encouragingly at her. Emma took a spoonful, let it slide down her throat. She gagged and bolted for the bathroom. Earl rushed in behind her. When they returned to the kitchen, Doreen was on the telephone. She handed it to Earl and went to fuss over Emma. "I don't want you to do anything more. I just need to give my body a chance to recuperate. I'm not used to all this fuss, and I'm really embarrassed by all of it. It isn't like I have the flu or a bad cold. I drank too much and got sick from it. It was stupid. I also feel that I've been a burden to Earl these past months with the nightmares." Earl joined them in the kitchen. "That was Jared. He said you should be feeling a little crummy for a day or so, and also that I should look for signs of depression," he told them. He'd heard what she said, but he didn't let on that he heard. "Earl is going to drop me off. Will you be okay by yourself?" asked Doreen. "If you don't mind, I'd like to ride with you. The air might do me some good," Emma said. Wow, that was a lot to unpack. How many of you are feeling sorry for Emma right now? He watched as the 3 of them got into the detective's car and drive away. It had been a very busy night for them. He'd been watching them for a few days now. His cousin Carlos loaned him his van. He thinks Rafael is out on a date. He followed the couple to the barbecue and drove away and came back later to watch them dance. He even caught a glimpse of them at the house in the downstairs room making love. They didn't deserve to be happy, not while his son was a rotting corpse in the ground. He wasn't even allowed to go to his funeral. He just got a letter informing him of his son's death. His ex-wife didn't even bother to write. All that made him even angrier. The snitch bitch is going to pay, and that detective is going to be sorry. Well, that's it for now. There is much to think and wonder about. Come back to find out what happens next. And if you haven't joined our family, please do so now.